Okay, let's go take a look inside this Pomoly Bromance 70 Tipi tent. The main reason we're out here today, as I may have mentioned in another video, is I needed to see it's spec'd out as being large enough for 4 to 6 people. That changes if you put the interior mesh tents in it, one on each side. And what I really wanted to know was, is this tent big enough with those mesh inserts inside the tent to hold 2 cots, one on each side? My brother and I, when we are in a base camp setup like this is not a packable tent. It weighs about 20 or thereabouts pounds. Don't hold me to that. You can check the specs on Pomoly's website. But it appears to be a pretty well made tent. And like I said though, I needed to make sure that when using these inserts, because we go out in bug weather quite often, I needed to make sure that our cots would fit. Now I have a very large cot, a Teton XXL, which is like 35 or 40 inches wide and like 72 inches long. So even though I'm a relatively short person, about 5'7", 5'8", somewhere thereabouts, I do not like sleeping on the ground at my age. As a senior citizen, in a base camp, I'll sleep on the ground, but I prefer to sleep on a cot because you just get a much more home-like sleep on a cot. But here you can see we've got the mesh installed on the one side here, and there's the extra large cot. You see it does fit in there. I was not able to stake out the inner mesh on the ground. I stuck some twigs in there, but that didn't hold it. And as you can see, it really is it stays in place. The cot is holding it in place. And up there at the top, there is a strap or a buckle that it hooks into, and that's what holds it up in the air. So coming back down, before I come out here in my next adventure, I just brought it out here today just to set it up and test it for size. You can see the corners are not staked. The twigs that I used have come undone, and yet the inner mesh would still protect you. You move on inside here. You can get a little better idea as to the size. Now there you can see the mesh, if you can see, is touching the cot. However, you can make that your foot end. If you come up here, I don't have the crossbars on the end of the cots, but even if I do, you can see there's like 1.5 feet of space down there, and that's probably where I would have my head. And of course you could adjust this cot, sleep any way you want to. The nice thing about these inner meshes is you can enter privately from the outside of the tent or the inside. There's a zipper on both sides of the mesh. A really nice feature. Pomoly put a lot of thought into their inner meshes. Now as we move around here, I wanted to show my brother. You see that, brother? We even brought you a chair. You got your very own chair. Take that lantern off of there so it's not so bright, so it won't blind you. And as you can see, we have 2 inner meshes. I don't have the other one in here, but there's plenty of room on the other side here to put that one in, another cot. The other cot I have is just a regular universal size cot. I didn't bring it with today. I just brought the large one. I knew if the large one fit, the small one surely would. One thing I love about this Bromance 70 Tipi tent is all the openings. So you can really keep this tent aired out. There's 1, 2, 3, 4 openings. 2 actual doors, and then 2 doors, I guess you could call those doors too, where you'd have to just kind of bend down a little bit. But it does allow you access to just your side of the cot if that's what you wanted, it inside your mesh area. So if you were worried about disturbing your fishing partner during the night, or your wife, your spouse, brother, sister, whatever, you could come in there like you had to go outside for a pit stop or whatever. So it's very hot. It's a actually this is June the 1st in South Carolina. Pretty warm day. We're in partial shade here, and I'm comfortable in here. And I can certainly see where this would be a very comfortable setup for 2 people. Now as I back out, this should give you an idea. There's the pole in the center that keeps the tent upright. I suppose if you had an overhead branch, there is a tie strap off up there, a loop, as you will, if you will, that you could tie to that branch and I suppose eliminate the pole. But you don't always have an overhead branch, so this tent comes with a pole. The inner meshes do not come with this Pomoly Bromance 70, but they're a nominal amount. I think I paid like $59 for the 2 of them. And the total cost of this tent with the 2 inner meshes, the tent, the stakes, and the guyouts and everything, and a bag, of course, was only like $350 some odd dollars, maybe $360, something like that, including shipping, plus tax, of course. So far, I'm real pleased. I wanted to come out here and set it up, though, so that I would know in advance what I was going to be up against. It took me probably about 30 to 40 minutes to set it up the first time because I wasn't sure what I was doing. There's no real instructions with the Pomoly tents. It just says, stake out the tent, put the pole together, and put it up. That's your basic instructions. So you have to kind of just wing it, and that's okay. You know, most of us campers who've been out in the woods a lot over the years can figure out most any kind of tent, and this one is not complicated whatsoever. So I'm real pleased. I'm especially pleased and so happy that I decided to get the inner mesh, knowing that the cots fit now. So, but anyway, that's about all I have to say today. We'll do some other reviews in the future as I get used to using the tent. I guess I should show you. It does come with 3 stove jacks, and here's one right here in this doorway, and then there's 2 of them on that side. So you theoretically could have 2 stoves if you were in really just super frigid cold weather. You could have 2 stoves cranking it up, and that's the way this tent was designed. So it's truly a 4-weather tent, and I am so glad to see that even though I'm going to have the 2 inner meshes, 2 cots, there'll still be room for chairs. If we put stoves in, it might be a little tight, and firewood in our gear. But the nice thing about cots is you can put all your gear underneath your cots. I love that feature. So at any rate, brother, what do you think? I thought you'd love seeing. This is a tent that we're going to go camping with probably this fall. Neither one of us are much on hot weather camping. So I look forward to it. I thought I'd send this to you just so you'd see. Check you later, brother.